if you're having problems in relationships, guess what? You're the problem. And we're back. And
Hello.
he's just taken off his shirt. That's all she's done. She's back.
I
Same,
changed it.
same month. Okay.
Don't listen to that. Um, so I thought we'd start off by following up with your in September we talked about friendships.
Yes.
And you were kind of challenged to figure
Mm,
out how you were gonna make some new friendships or form
right.
some new friendships. What have
Right.
you done for that?
I knew you were going to ask me that question. So I've been waiting for us to close the cottage so that I had the weekend. So that's happening next week. But I have been looking up different activities groups that I want to join, or that I'm thinking about joining.
Well, when you say I'm waiting, that just sounds like an excuse to me.
Yes. Okay, so there's this whole thing of, yes, I want friends, but that means that I have to get out of my home.
Mhm.
Um, which is difficult. I will say that I have put myself into a lot of like I have picked a whole bunch of networking type of things
Mhm.
to go to.
Interesting.
So, when I'm in networking, I kind of look at it could be a client, could be a friend or a business associate. Like I try to remain open.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things that I have stepped up. And a lot of that is to recognize that a lot of my client, like you talked about clients coming from referrals, a lot of mine come from being with me in a group or in person or that type of stuff. So I thought I'll ramp that up,
Okay.
you know.
I'm
And I'm
not
also,
trying to put you like I am trying to put you on the spot. I'm putting you on the
yes, you
hot
are.
seat because we you did talk about it and I think that's one of the things I want to talk about today.
Hmm.
But not necessarily friendship connections, but more like along the romantic connections. And because I had somebody who I know through tennis, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. And I think just sometimes I hope I have the energy that people feel okay that they could just talk to me.
Hmm.
And I've known this person for years, very, she's very stoic. And one day she says to me that something happened with her husband, like not major. And she said, but we're just done. Like we're together, but we're not together. Like he does his thing, I do my thing. You know, they have grown kids. We're talking somebody in their mid 60s. Um, and I have to tell you, I was floored. I was
Hmm.
floored to hear that, but I hear it a lot.
Yeah.
Um, and I thought, let's talk a little bit about marriage and relationships because you're married. I'm
Yep.
married.
Yep.
I'll be married 24 years soon. How long have you and Sue been together?
30.
30. Wow. See, I'm a baby next to you.
Yeah, you are. Yes.
Um, and whether we're talking friendships, but let's be honest. I mean, romantic relationships aren't easy.
No. No.
Um, and not only are they not easy, they evolve. Sometimes, we're bebopping together, sometimes it's just, but it always makes me wonder. Like I had an aunt and uncle who were married for over 30 years and called it quits. Now, there were issues and I think she had just had it. But I
Mhm.
was like, wow, it's such a shame because it seemed like they were emerging now from those issues. Um, and she just had had enough. And I do believe that that is a challenge for people like us, people in their midlife, um, that sometimes people just have enough. So I just thought we would talk about like what, as it relates to your relationship. I mean, any things that you can share that have worked for you. Um, I just thought we would tackle this because again, people will come to me and
Mhm.
talk to me about problems they're having in their marriage or their relationship. And um, just thought it would be kind of interesting because I think we all face, let's be honest, let's get rid of the glitter. Uh, and stop pretending that it's all perfect because it's not. I
No,
mean,
it's work.
it's work. Sometimes it's really hard work. Um, So I thought we tackled this today.
Okay. It's funny, when I first started coaching, I was doing and I still do communications, but basically relationship coaching. And I really had a hard time getting that off the ground, and that's why I had to kind of change.
Hmm.
But one of the things that I recognized and noticed in my midlife, I was running with a bunch of women, and there was about 30 of us. And the biggest thing that I noticed is that the people in the relationships that survived, was what I found was is more in straight culture, obviously, for me is that the couple starts to raise kids and they're no longer a couple,
Hmm.
they're
Your
parents.
parents. Yes.
And if you ask any woman who's got kids and they're still at home to define their labels, we all have labels, it
Yep.
could be, mother, sister, brother, whatever, right? So it's kind of like the first thing they say is mother. And then I listen, where's wife? Sometimes it's the second spot, sometimes a third, fourth, fifth. They got parents looking after. So then when those kids move out, if wife was on the bottom, or sorry, husband was on the bottom, wife, whatever, their label, wife. It's like, how does that change when it comes up to the top? And it
Hmm.
shifts the entire relationship. And what I noticed is that the people that didn't survive as well were ones that didn't find something that brought them commonality after the kids left the home.
Interesting.
So, like in my running group, it was running.
Hmm.
For others, it may be tennis, photography. I've seen it in photography groups. Like there's something that they have a passion in. It may be traveling, but
Hmm.
there becomes a common goal that brings the couple together, that gets them excited, gets them social, gets them out there with people.
Hmm.
And they're the ones that seem to survive. The ones that don't are the ones that she's running, he's doing that. Their lives don't come together after the kids move out. And now they don't have a role with each other. They're two strangers living in the house.
Hmm.
And that I find anywhere between within 5 to 20 years after the kids leave, they're looking at each other going, I want more, or I don't want it with you, because they're not even friends anymore.
Right.
There's no commonality. So
Well, I think.
so that would be the biggest thing that I would say. Find a commonality.
Hmm. And I think that's great advice because I think you hit the nail. So even if it's, I know you're saying straight because, kids, but even if it's, like it doesn't matter what kind of relationship it is,
Yeah.
male, female, 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 male, male, when kids are involved, I think the common aspect is parenting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then, all of a sudden, you're right, when the nest becomes empty, it's like, holy shit, who is this person? And I think I told you the story about even my husband with me going to him saying, I'm worried because, you and we play at different points in our life, we play different roles.
Yeah.
And parenting is very all encompassing. It just is.
Yeah.
Um, so and even early on, like we would try date night, but things again, life happens.
Yeah.
So, but that is just it is so true that then the nest becomes empty, and then all of a sudden you're two people that have evolved,
Yeah.
and now it's like, okay, what does it look like? And I
Yeah.
think you hit that nail right on the head about commonality.
Yeah.
So
Because you're no longer parenting. You're no longer co-parenting. That's the roles that you fulfilled. And it's like, so now what are you?
all right.
And a lot. I actually ran with a lot of women that they were also, as soon as the kid gets out of the house, that's it. Like they're off, they're gone.
Hmm. Right.
You know?
And I agree with you. Like that's kind of almost what I'm seeing too. Like I've seen again long-term marriages where one or the other wakes up and just says, this is just not what I want. I'm just not fulfilled. Which again will be another topic because I believe that they don't have to be mutually exclusive. I think that's our problem in our roles. But let me ask you this. Okay, you don't have kids.
Yeah.
So what would you see there?
Sorry, what's the question?
So so like you're saying it's commonality for people like for people with kids.
Right.
What about people without kids? Same.
Well, people without kids usually have a commonality that keeps them going or separates them throughout their relationship, because they never become anything other than wife, husband, husband. You know what I mean? Like they don't have other stuff that comes in to make them parent or this or that, the other, usually.
Except,
Except, yeah.
because I 100%, and that's why I threw that at you,
Yeah.
because you're right on. Except we are always evolving. Well,
Yes.
let's put it this way. We should always be evolving. Some of us don't.
Yeah.
But ideally, as two individuals, we're always, we're evolving. We're changing. We're taking on different, we're stepping into different stories.
Mhm.
Just like that. So yes and no. So I'm calling you out on that one too with the question.
Okay. So I just called me out. You know, the fact though is that you are evolving, but there will always be something central. You're always partners to each other. And that's why sometimes it doesn't work also. 50% of marriages don't work. 50% do. There's no right or wrong.
I feel like sometimes though, because sometimes it's just easy. But here's my common thread that I'm gonna say, and you nailed it again in your Karen wisdom. It's the friendship thing.
Yeah.
Because we change, so maybe we're not as sexually charged as we used to be, and maybe one partner wants that, one partner's not. There's a lot of different things or dynamics that develop, but at the core it's that friendship.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is that you make a decision to be in the relationship and you make a commitment to that. And when two people do that, it opens up the possibilities of how do we do that. So that also means it shuts down external stuff.
Interesting. Elaborate.
Well, you know, I don't fall in love with somebody because of who they are. I fall in love with somebody because who I am. So if I'm
Mic drop.
so like if I meet you and I'm single and like, whoa, I'm gonna go for it, right? But if I'm brand new in a relationship and I absolutely am like adoring this person, and all of a sudden I meet you and I think, wow, they're really cool. I'm going to introduce them to my best friend. But there's none of that attraction because I'm happy. I'm not looking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that's what I kind of mean. Like I fall in love because of me.
Well,
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I 100% support that statement, but that's not most of us.
No, it is all of us because you know what? When I said it comes down to commitment and it comes down to a decision. When I make a decision, for example, to be in the relationship,
Mm-hmm.
through the ups and I take away all the external stuff that may come into it. A
That's you.
decision,
You.
but hold on. Decision. What is decision? Decision means you cut away. You cut into an incision. You cut away other options. The problem is that people don't make that decision. I'm not sure if I want to be here or not. Or they haven't got the commitment. Something walks by that looks a little bit nicer, and I think the grass is greener over there.
You took the words right out of my mouth, girl. We have been doing this too long because I was just about to say grass is greener.
So it's those two things. So if you have the commitment and you have the, I forget what the hell I just said, the other part.
Decision.
Thank you, decision. Then you stay united, and in doing so, you grow together because it's kind of like that the whole idea of if you expect it to happen, it's going to happen. You're creating that reality. So it's the idea that if you make the decision, you stay in that commitment, then all you're doing is opening up the ways for you to come together, not apart. But we have, our society of younger people, for example, that don't have the resilience, that don't have the emotional quotient the same way. There's a lot more immaturity, difficulty for them in relationships. There's also the instant gratification, and how do you endure something when it feels like crap? I mean, like you ask any couple that's been together a long time, I'll ask you, have you had ups and downs?
Absolutely.
Most people will say, oh yeah, we had good years and bad years. Years you're talking. We're not talking like 6 in a row or that, but they're not a day or two, are they?
Just depends on what it is.
Yeah. But you can look back, I can look back and look at time, 6 months here, 9 months there, and it's that persistence. But it's the
Mhm.
idea that we stay invested, we stay involved. And it's harder for, I think, younger people that want that instant gratification, that are used to that. You give a charge card, you get you hit a like, you get a little dopamine hit. It's hard to stay.
Mhm. Interesting. I love our talks.
Yeah, well, I can see you're
Well, no, because I think I 100% understand and hear what you're saying. I mean, I love the commonality, the friendship. Um, I think not all relationships obviously are created equal. Sometimes things press our boundaries.
Yep.
Um, so that's not really, I think, what we're talking about. We're talking just about, as normal, although we don't agree, we don't subscribe to that term, but we're talking about just things about as normal type of relationship. We're not talking about anything, extreme
No,
or
no.
the different relationships that are out there. We're talking about just a normal day to day kind of relationship and why things break down and why things stay, how things can stay together.
Yep.
So,
And just one last other part on this is that, sometimes we gotta let go of that dream.
mhm.
And not that you have to decide what's important to you, because you're not gonna get somebody who checks every freaking box.
It's not Disney.
But yeah, but there have been times that there have been boxes that got checked that I never knew that I wanted,
Mhm.
and that are great. And so there's always going to be that compromise, give and take, and all that type of stuff. And there's no perfection. And I find a lot of times in some of the coaching that I'm doing, the talk is about how realistic is it? Like, they want the partner to be everything, their business coach, as well as their lover, as well as their best friend, as well as their parent. Like, and it's like, we can't be, that's why you need friends. That's what makes us well-rounded, because no one person can satisfy all that.
But I feel like that goes back to what you were saying as it relates to me. Like the more centered you are within yourself, the more that you stop looking outside of you.
Yeah.
I think but that's again, that's, I'm gonna say most people aren't that way, and it took years probably for both of us. Um, but that's part of it, and I think because sometimes I'll talk to my daughter about things, and I'm like, well, is it because your expectation wasn't met?
Yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
she, and then she'll think about it, and she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we get in trouble too,
Oh
is
yeah.
with that at that word expectation. So
Oh yeah. And you know what? You want to fix a relationship, any relationship you're in, fix yourself,
100%.
you know? Fix yourself. Yeah, that's the one thing is that you carry forward in all your relationships. That's the only commonality you have is yourself. So if you're having problems in relationships, guess what? You're the problem.
And I go back to you thinking like with the kids, the Tinder and the swipe, and I
Yeah.
think a lot of it is because they're looking outside. They don't have that piece yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And frankly, that's a piece that I wish I could teach much younger.
But Ann, did you have it when you were 20? Did you even have it when you were 30?
No, no, but that's
No.
my point. Because
Yeah.
to me, Karen, that's self-love. It starts there.
Yeah.
It starts. We've all had it. We were born with it.
Yeah. But we lose it.
We lose it. Yeah.
Yeah. But I will tell you, yeah, 20, 30, no, didn't have
Mm-mm.
any of that. No self-assurance, no confidence, no nothing,
Yep.
looking outside. I blamed everybody else and everything else for my unhappiness inside,
Yep.
you know? And it's something that I think that comes with a little bit of maturity, of starting to recognize that it's me in this that center of my chaos.
Mhm.
making those changes.
But it's the same thing even because I mean, I have adults and I mean, you see it too. I mean, I've I've been using the snooze button a lot on Facebook because it's like, when is this going to stop? Well, this is going to stop when you make the decision.
Yeah.
When you step out of victim and into creator.
Yep.
But it's tough.
Well, it's ultimate. What's that? There's been a word that's been going around for the last year. What is it? Total. It means total responsibility, but it's a different word. And radical responsibility. That
Mhm.
means taking radical responsibility for everything that happens in my life. You talk about co-creating. It's like you co-create your life and everything that's happened in it, the good stuff, the bad stuff, and everything in between.
Mhm.
And not everybody wants to take that responsibility, or they only want to take responsibility for the good things.
Or they don't even know. I'm going to
Yeah,
say they don't even know.
yeah,
Honestly, I believe there's a
yeah.
whole big portion of us that don't even recognize or don't even understand it.
This is true. I mean, my understanding of radical responsibility has changed just in the last couple of years.
Hmm.
So we're all, like you say, we're always growing and evolving.
Yep. So
So
anyway,
I think we're at the end of this one.
I think we
So,
are.
all right, is that it for the month? I can't remember. Have we done 3 or 4? How many
We
times has she changed her top?
don't listen to her.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us again. If you have any comments, we'd love to hear them. If you have any suggestions for topics, we're willing to talk about them. Anything out there, this is raw and unscripted, which we both love the whole idea of. And I am Karen Vale, a mindset and confidence coach, and I am here with
Anna Jennings, and I'm a midlife mentor.